honeysuckle doesn't acknowledge boundaries in any way.
Content in many gardens and now in Aotearoa's native bush, Japanese honeysuckle is threatening flora and fauna along the Tarawera Trail. Friends of the Tarawera Trail, a group of passionate locals, is on a mission to eradicate the vine, which in parts of the trail has grown larger than some trees.
Some of the trees are totally covered in the honeysuckle, so you can't actually see the tree a lot of the time. Maybe there's a couple of little stems sticking up with some leaves, but not much. So it covers the mahuris, the karamus, all of the different trees, and it smothers them, stops them from getting light, and also the vines will literally sort of strangle the trees, and then we're killing our native bush.
Although beautiful and sweet-smelling, the evergreen honeysuckle is unrelenting in its growth, strangling its hosts and limiting food sources for birds, insects and bugs in the area.
It totally is lovely in the right place, and that's the problem with the honeysuckle on the Tarawera Trail, is that it's in totally the wrong place. It's not just about the species, it's about where it is, the damage it's doing, and what damage it could do. People who know about weeds would probably be shouting at this point going, there's like 342 other ones that are just as bad, right? Which there are, it just depends on where. And so herein lies the issue. So you can't just say, okay, nationwide we should be, removing all honeysuckle from everywhere, that's the priority, let's throw all our money at it. That's not going to work, because in certain areas it could be another plant.
While the vine is only found in one part of the 15-kilometre long trail, it's moving further along.
It's only going in one direction, and it's going further down the trail and further down into the native ecosystem, and unless we stop it, it's just going to keep going. And it's currently covers maybe 2 kilometres of the trail, and you can see in kilometre 3, 4, there's some in sort of 4, 5, slightly less, but it's moving slowly over time.
There's no clear source of the weed's introduction, but Howells has a theory.
But here specifically, we have people's houses and gardens quite close to native bush, so the chances of a plant sort of jumping the fence into the native bush becomes higher.
Japanese honeysuckle is recognised by the Bay of Plenty as a weed, but its advisory status means it's up to landowners to manage it if they wish to. The council defines advisory weeds as established within the region and are known to negatively impact on environmental, production and/or public values. These pests are not the subject of identified programs and rules in the Regional Pest Management Program. As a means of reducing the spread of the honeysuckle, in 2020, the Regional Council released the Honshu butterfly as a biocontrol method. The very hungry Honshu caterpillars thrive off the pesky plant. Shane Horner, Biosecurity Officer from the Council, says they haven't confirmed establishment of the agent at the site yet, but it's possible the population may still take off and have an impact on the honeysuckle. He also says they are monitoring the progress of this and other agents across the Bay of Plenty region.
So there's nothing good in it.
And funding ongoing biocontrol research, working with experts at Manaaki Whenua. For Friends of the Tarawera Trail, the work has only just begun, and Howells wants people to reframe how they look at nature.
As a nation, I think we're really conscious of fluffy four-legged pests. We have a huge movement for 2050 predator-free. We don't talk about weeds so much. If you do want to get involved, first thing to do is have a look in your garden, especially if you board a native bush, and see whether some of your garden plants are heading into the bush. Because if they're heading into the bush in the back of your garden, you need to deal with them, because they're doing that in other places.
Violet French, Local Focus.